Hey there, gamers. DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about Xbox, because I guess at this point, even a PlayStation is an Xbox, because this weekend has been a bloodbath. Ever since they announced that Halo is coming to PlayStation 5, I have seen actually the biggest Xbox YouTubers quitting. I've seen the biggest podcasts claim they're going to shut down or rebrand. The biggest Xbox journalists attacking each other, attacking Xbox. And I want to break it down because it's honestly, it's not just that it's insane to watch. It's just watch to watch now, if that makes sense. In the fact that I've been covering the console wars for over a decade and it always felt like Xbox might make a comeback. See, there's always been this very fun rivalry to witness. You know, PlayStation comes out with a crazy exclusive and it won a bunch of awards. Or, oh man, here's the next big Nintendo Switch game. Here's, Breath of the Wild selling 10 million units. Here's everybody debating what's game of the year and stuff like that. Whereas Xbox, it always felt like they had this big plan in mind, where they would put out good PR. There would be times where Xbox did seem to have the best deal in gaming idea down. But, Xbox always lacked games, hardcore games that made that FOMO. I feel like Xbox, even if you love Forza, even if you love, the Gears of War remaster and stuff, it does feel like the biggest thing that Xbox lacked is those bombastic, big, AAA, heavily marketed releases. Even if you love, Keeper, I think, is one of their new games, or there's Outer Worlds 2 and stuff like that. I feel like even Xbox at this point is not going out there and screaming from the rooftops, we've got the games, because they know they don't. And at this point, now that Xbox is just so dead, today I wanted to take a look at a bunch of different tweets from a bunch of different people just literally attacking each other, because I find it fascinating that here, now that the dust is settled, instead of reminiscing on the good times, people realize Xbox has been lying from the start. The entire last 12 years of tenure from Phil Spencer, every statement, every spin, every new benchmark, Xbox always has been and always will be lying to. But let me talk about this. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I was actually at a Halloween party till about 3 a.m., so I'm actually still covered. I was a vampire, and I have all this fake blood, and I swear to God I tried to wash it off, and a lot of it came off, but I still look like I ate some very raw meat. But let me start with this. I do feel like a tremendous amount of anger is specifically being directed towards famous Xbox leaker Jez Corden, because Jez Corden has always been, a lot of people like to call him a mouthpiece, where the guy definitely has a lot of sources inside of Microsoft, but he's always the guy who comes out here is trying to do the best spin possible. Oh yes, some games are going to PlayStation, but just a couple. Or, oh, people keep claiming every game's going to this or that. Everybody's lying. Only I am correct. A lot of people realize Jez Corden, I do think, got manipulated. I do think people inside of Xbox specifically were trying to feed him info because they knew, all right, if we change plans, he'll take the blast, not us. We get free good PR, and we don't have to deal with the consequences that Jez will have to deal. Now, Jez, he's still trying to spin this that somehow inside of Xbox, there is a plan. This is all the fault of Hood and Satya Nadella. Oh, there's always something. They've destroyed Surface. They destroyed Windows. I promise. It's cool to trash them right now, but he's like, oh, look, I still think there is a plan. There does still seem to be this tiny last remnants of people that are trying to claim that, oh, if Phil Spencer still manages to figure this out, maybe they can still fix it. I think Phil Spencer's going to be gone. I think Phil Spencer is already retired. When's the last time you saw Phil Spencer doing his typical sales shtick? Typically Phil Spencer's out here wearing a shirt being like, hey, here's why everything's great. I feel like I see almost none of Phil Spencer anymore, and I think part of it's the fact that people just keep cataloging his lies, his ever-growing pile of misinformation. But a lot of people are mad about this. So this guy is Matt Booty. Matt Booty is actually, the head of games. This is his technical job. He's the guy who basically determines, all right, not just which games get released here and there. He's one of the taste testers. He plays all the unreleased Xbox games to see what changes need to be made and stuff. And essentially, he came out here and talked about the fact that, look, guys, we're no longer competing with anybody. Our competition isn't PlayStation. It's not another console. We're all seeking to meet people where they are. We're competing against TikTok. We're competing more and more with everything from TikTok to movies. I have said this in the past. I hate corpo speak. I hate when people just talk in weird, stupid buzzwords and random gibberish, gimmicky, stupid catchphrases. I hate that these corporate empty suits think all entertainment is equal. It's not. I am a gamer. That means I want to play good, big, crazy, fun games, great combat systems, skill trees, stuff like that. To me, I am not competing my time against the laundromat. I love bodybuilding. I'm obsessed with bodybuilding. But you know what? My Xbox is not competing with the gym. I hate this weird equivalency. Like there's a certain amount of hours. And so we're just trying to get you to not watch a movie and instead log into Xbox. Why aren't you guys talking about, hey, here's our next big cool game. Here's our next big idea. Here's our thing that makes us want to boot up the Xbox instead of whatever this stupid stuff is. Look at this. Xbox should stop talking from the previous president of Xbox. My gosh. Actual facts. He changed his tune. Xbox Matt Booty wanted to spend Sony out of business. Oh, yeah. Do you remember that quote? Matt Booty bragged about the fact that right now, I think they're getting close to $4 trillion. Microsoft's market cap, basically how much raw investor money they technically have like close to $4 trillion. And Matt Booty basically said, oh, you know what? Sony may be putting out more games. Sony may be putting out games that sell more, but additionally, we can just buy it. We can buy everything. We can buy every studio. We can buy Bethesda. We can buy Activision Blizzard. We can buy whatever we want. We can outspend the competition. Yeah, buddy. Until they take that checkbook away. Once Daddy takes that checkbook away because they realized everything you bought isn't coming out, I think part of my frustration is that the original promise of the Xbox acquisitions, let me remind you, for people that have not been watching this stuff bit by bit, the original promise of the acquisitions, and the reason they make me mad now is they kept saying, hey, making games is difficult because you have to worry about all this stuff besides making good games. They say we have to worry about the marketing. We have to worry about sales metrics. We got to worry about pre-order bonuses. We got to worry about having a vertical slice to show it at E3 and stuff like that. We have to worry about all these deadlines and metrics. Whereas they kept saying, now that we're under the umbrella of Microsoft, they make all that go away. Microsoft will deal with all of that. We just have to make great games. And honestly, that's a great promise. I like the idea of full creative control and essentially infinite budget. But what seems to have happened is that we're still not getting those games. It feels like so little is coming out, or when it does, it just feels like whatever. Like the first Hellblade game, fantastic. The second game, it's fine. But did that really need infinite creative control? Did that really need this acquisition and stuff? There's so many times where Xbox claims we can throw money at this problem, but either the problem doesn't go away or the games just don't seem to even really reflect that bigger budget. I want to go through this. So a lot of people are just talking about the fact that it's super bizarre. Even freaking the official PlayStation account posting crappy AI slap of Master Chief. I've seen stuff like this. Phil Spencer went live to the world and lied to all of you. In February 2024, there is a job listing for Halo coming to PS5. Full development for Halo 2026 started in January of 2024. On January 15th, or the 15th of February, this guy announced to the world it was just 4 games when looking at the evidence behind the scenes. It was already being made for Xbox, or already being made for PlayStation 5. A lot of people point out the fact that a lot of Xbox fans specifically seem to be incredibly pissed about the fact that they got lied to over and over and over again. A lot of these people, this is Defining Duke. Defining Duke is actually one of the biggest Xbox podcasts. I think they're part of the Sacred Symbols team or whatever, right? But they've talked about the fact that a lot of times they go off the statements that Xbox releases. If Xbox says this game's coming out on this date, you have to believe it. If Xbox says this is our plan, to some degree, you have to listen to what they're saying beyond the leakers. And they've talked about the fact that they're frustrated that if you're trying to be excited about Xbox, at this point, it's all bad news. They have one of the biggest things. This podcast is called Defining Dukes, and they're literally talking about renaming it, just going to fully third party and just talking about games. And their thought is like, do we call it Redefining Duke? Do we call it X-Defining? They're literally trying to actually rebrand and give up on all this Xbox stuff. Look at all the Xbox symbols even in the back. This is one of the biggest Xbox podcasts, and they're having to abandon it because they're in a space like, okay, all Xbox does is lie, go third party, raise prices, and screw people over. You can't really cover that in a week-to-week show that isn't just basically beating up on Team Green, right? Look at this. I've seen this multiple times now. It's wild to this. I've also seen this, the Xbox 2 podcast, which is Jez Corden and Randall Thor. Even they're talking about the fact that now that they're fully multi-platform, they're like, all right, well, maybe I don't want to work with Jez Corden. You want some hard truths? You hate Nintendo. You don't play anything on PlayStation. We can't really, if I'm going to make a general podcast, it won't include you. It's just wild. I got to admit the fact that all the Xbox fans instantly abandoning ship. I just didn't expect it to be so dang sudden. Like, here's another one that was really funny to me. When they announced Halo coming to PlayStation, this is like one of the heads of Xbox gaming. And he comes out in a PlayStation shirt. He unzipped his jacket and said, hell yeah, all games going forward will be coming to PlayStation. And look at this, pure simp, loser mentality. Not my Xbox, not my Halo, F them all. Even Kid Smooth has literally written songs about how much he loves Xbox. He has this very silly song called Halo Gears and Forza, Halo Gears and Forza, where he's basically like, look, as long as those games keep coming out, as long as those games keep being good, it's good enough for him. And at this point, Halo, Gears, and Forza are all on PlayStation. And he's basically said he may just quit gaming. Retiring, going down with the ship, whatever you want to do it. As an Xbox fan, I'm furious. He always likes to call himself the best bot. And he's basically said, I'm clocked out. I can't possibly care or defend this brand at all anymore. Look at this. Emotions are high today. Some of my greatest gaming memories came from Xbox. I have loved covering the platform for 20 years. I can't help but feel Microsoft has manipulated their fan base and quietly ditched their obligations as a platform holder. Xbox fans deserved better. Now, what's crazy about this to me is that past tense. They deserved better, which is the fact that the console wars are not just over. I am a little bit in a spot where I'm kind of curious now what happens to these Xbox brands. I just do not trust Microsoft. Now that Microsoft has completely taken over Xbox and clearly does not care about the games themselves, the fact that they're comparing gaming to TikTok, I am actually thinking that my concern is that they're not even going to make games. They're not even going to sell off Halo. They're not going to sell Forza. I think they're just going to literally let all these brands go in the garbage can. And I do like the idea of saying Xbox fans deserved better. Destin Legary says, it's going to be all right. Please don't assume I give more than 2 Fs about this. It is interesting to me to just see that Xbox die with such a pathetic whimper, just literally saying, please buy it anywhere. Like, we'll give up the entire legacy. We'll give up our decades of work. We'll just throw it all in the garbage can for a 1% stock increase to Microsoft. It's pathetic. These numbers, they can't even sell an Xbox to save their lives. Even the original people, I've actually seen stuff like this. This is one of the original designers of Halo talking about how bad the Halo remake looks to him. He's basically like, okay, you're not even supposed to be able to drive the Warthog up there and crush those hunters. You aren't supposed to be able to take the Warthog up there. I intentionally placed rocks in the way. When you can just smash crates out of the way, it wrecks the encounters. The worst part, they put trees in the landing area of the woohoo jump. Lame. This is one of the original people. A lot of people are even like replying in the comments like, bro, it's just so wild. Microsoft can't even get the freaking Halo remake right, and that should be the easiest dunk ever. I don't know. This is an off-the-cuff thought. I just wanted to talk about this because it's interesting watching not just people turn against Xbox. I have made a lot of videos bashing on the mistakes of Xbox for years and years and years. And I can't say I didn't see this coming. Obviously, you can watch videos of mine from 3, 4, 5 years ago, pretty much spelling out every single thing that happened as it happened. I mean, to me, it's always been obvious this is where it would end up. I guess I just didn't think it would be such a pathetic whimper. I really thought they'd go out kicking and screaming. I didn't think they'd just come out there and just say, hey, everything's dead. We give up. Please, 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 please save us, Daddy PlayStation. It's odd. I don't know. Off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you feel about this? Also, what are you dressing as for Halloween? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.